How did Imagine impact your life?
Yeah, okay, so crazy. I feel like photographers do have the tendency to be like, "This changed my life,"
Mhm.
like, "This system
Yeah.
changed my life." There are not many things that I will say that about. I've been a photographer for 10 years. There are not many things that I will say that about, like, "Oh, this changed my life." Changed
Mhm.
my photography business? Sure. Changed my workflow? Sure. Changed my efficiency? Sure. But Imagine literally changed my life because I was struggling so hard to just I wanted to provide my clients with a luxury service. And I
Mhm.
think involved in a luxury service is really great communication, really great delivery times, a really beautiful end product, a really great in-person experience. And I always felt like my editing workflow was the thing that put the brakes on that because I could do an amazing job, but if I deliver a wedding 2 weeks late, immediately their opinion of everything I did up until that point is gonna change, right? Like, being on the receiving end of, having been the client that maybe gets photos back longer than you expected, it hurts the relationship between you and the photographer regardless of how good of a job they've done, and that's such a bummer, and I didn't want all of that hard work that I had done, to impact my relationship with my clients. So not now the reason why it didn't just, like, impact my photography business, it impacted my whole life is because I had such bad anxiety about editing. I was missing family get-togethers. If I was at them, I was, like, frazzled. I was, like, almost, like, mad, like, "Why are you even asking me about how work is? You know how work is." I'm freaking
Yeah.
out. I'm burnt out. I'm behind. I shouldn't even be here right now. And I've never asked my parents, but I would imagine that they would be like, "You weren't, like, a super fun person to be around sometimes because you would come to these family get-togethers with, like, sort of a, I need to be back at my computer
Mhm.
feeling right now, right?" Even when I was outsourcing, like, I had one really bad experience where I had an outsourcing company drop the ball on a wedding before Christmas, and I'm like one of my sort of rules for myself is that I deliver everything before Christmas. Even if I shot that wedding on, like, December 20th. I
Mhm.
deliver all of my stuff before Christmas because I know clients are gonna be with their families and they really wanna be able to show over the holidays, right? Whether that be Christmas or whatever, but I wanna make sure that they are able to show their family their images while they're together for the holidays. And I had an outsourcing company really heavily drop the ball on a wedding that I had shot in November. So it's not like they didn't have a lot of lead time. They did. And they dropped the ball on their customer service and they dropped the ball on the editing. And I ended up editing that entire wedding over the Christmas holidays so that I could get them back at least before the New Year's. And that really soured my entire opinion of outsourcing as a whole because I felt like it's interesting. I think imagine people think that they're losing control, but actually you're gaining it all back, right? Like they think in giving the control over to AI that they're losing something in some way. That's how I felt about outsourcing. I felt like I was giving all of my, you know, I was like, here is this gorgeous wedding I'm giving you, and please make it nice, and you just hope that they don't decide that day's a magenta day, like
Right, right.
you really have no idea what you're gonna get back. And if you get it back on a day that you're already behind and it's really bad, then that can be a really stressful thing and can be really bad for your own mental health, for your
Mhm.
relationships with your clients, the relationships with the people in your life. Um, just overall really, really crummy. Um, and then, it changes how you feel about the overall finished product. You feel like you're hesitantly delivering a gallery that maybe isn't as awesome as it should be. Um, and or it's really awesome, but it took a whole heck of a lot to get there. So that's kind of it, there's a lot of like emotional baggage tied up in some of that delivery.
Mhm.
Ever since sort of switching everything over, so I delivered every single shoot that I did last year through Imagine, every single thing. So I think I know how many photos it was in the end because I ended up creating a new profile off of it. So it's 22,000 images that I ended up processing through Imagine last year. And I went to the cottage. I was present. It was lovely. I had way less stress about, like, am I missing files or have I not backed something up? Even though, like I said, it's never been a thing that I've ever done before, but it's still, it's just when you're stressed about something, your brain goes to the easiest thing that you could
Yes.
stress about, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what's the first
It
thing I
just
could freak out
piles and
about?
piles and piles and piles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you think like, did I not back things up? The great thing is that I'm like, the gallery's done. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
anything to think about. Like, if I wanted to, I could pull up the entire catalog right now and physically see it and know everything's all good. Like, you know, it removed so many barriers that were like really huge pain points for me in my business at every level, not just the editing level, right? Like, um, I I do a lot of family sessions in the fall, and I remember there have been many sessions that I show up to the family session, literally like, I better not overshoot right now because I don't have time to edit all of these and to go through all of them and to deliver a ton if I overshoot. So now I'm like holding myself back creatively because of the editing process. So it's not just the editing process that gets impacted by it, it's like everything, you know? Um, not only that, but the financial side of things, outsourcing the equivalent of 22,000 images or more or whatever, that's a very expensive day. So I was spending like well over $10,000 a year on outsourcing, like well over. One year I think I spent close to $20,000 on outsourcing. And last year I spent like 2,500 on like a lot of photos to be edited. So
Yeah.
um, I truly can't say enough. I really can't. Like, I'm so grateful, not only to Imagine for like existing and continuing to evolve in the areas that we need, but
Mhm.
also to the photographers that talk about it. It's part of the reason that I talk about it so much because I'm like, I wouldn't have wanted to experience what 5 more years of my life like it was. Um, in the future. So I'm trying to save people from that because
Mhm.
it it is what's going to lead to burnout. It's what's going to lead to photographers really having a not great time with their businesses and then just quitting because they're just not
Yeah.
going to be able to
I
handle it
mean,
anymore.
yeah, that kind of anxiety, stressful pileups, it just inevitable will lead to a breakdown of at some point.
It has to,
So
right? That
yeah.
that stress has to go somewhere. It can't
Yeah.
live in your body forever. So you're either gonna
Yep.
get physically sick, you're gonna get mentally sick. It's going to like we all know photographers. I think every single full-time photographer knows someone who has disappeared and who
Yeah.
has ghosted and who has left clients and who has moved away because their backlog became so insurmountable that they literally couldn't even imagine a way out. They just disappeared. And
Yeah.
to me, that's so sad. Like, I've had people's clients reach out to me saying, "Do you know where this person is?" And I'm like, "No." And they've just like literally changed their name and left the city. So I don't know
Yeah.
what to say to you. But it's so crazy to me that there's such a simple solution. And so I think it's so important that, the photographers that do use it keep sharing and keep telling people about it. Um, it's the kind thing to do. It's a like I every time I talk about it, either the photographers that I speak to are like, "Oh, yeah, I'm already in, like, completely invested, like, don't stop selling," you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they're like, "This is what I've been waiting for. Thank you so much," and they're, like,
Yeah.
beyond grateful. So, um, yeah, thanks for creating, like, one heck of a product, and every single thing that you're doing, like, keeps improving. Like, I know I just told you that I just, updated my profile using
Mhm.
the adjustments tool, like, wow, what a cool because again, if you're using like an outsourcing company, you want to explain to them, okay, this year I'd like to go a little bit warmer and I'd like my yellows specifically to be a little bit less saturated.
Yeah.
That's a 6-month process before they start figuring that out for you.
Yeah. And now you can do
Like
it instantly. Instantly.
instantly,
Almost. Yeah.
instantly. Like the last
Yeah.
few sessions that I have processed through are literally perfect, like,
Yeah.
quite literally perfect, like, they are export ready, done.